Hello, my name is Jimmy, and this is the 2020 CX-5. But before I say anything else, I'm just gonna do a quick launch. Okay, 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 227 horsepower on regular, 250 horsepower when you're using premium. No matter what though, you get 310 pound-feet of torque. And that's exactly what you get to launch this amazing SUV. Oh, this is fun. Okay, a little fast, a little too fast. The CX-5 is an amazing SUV. It really is. I mean, there's already a lot of zoom factor in it, but when they put this engine, this 2.5 liter turbocharged 4, it made it that much better. So what is the CX-5? It's a compact, mid-size SUV that, depending on who and where you're reading your information from, can be classified as such, but it is an amazing SUV for what you get. It's, yes, a Mazda logo on the front, so it's not as posh as like Lexus or Acura or BMW or even Mercedes. But, I mean, if you talk to someone that doesn't know cars that much, well, you place them in here, they may not know that this is just a Mazda because the interior quality is amazing. But I'll get to that. Let's talk about the looks first. I absolutely love how the CX-5 looks. That chiseled front end, that really intricate grille, and those lovely headlights. It's a beautiful, beautiful front end. I also really like the little LED fog lights that's off to the sides. Sure, they may not be, well, as big and bright as some others, but I find it fits the front end on this CX-5 really, really well. On the side, we have 19-inch gunmetal wheels. They're beautiful on the vehicle, and I love the swooping lines that's on the CX-5. It's not as fluid as the brand new Mazda 3, because that's a newer Kodo design. This is technically an older model, as it is about 3 years old now. But nevertheless, it's still a really good looking vehicle from the side. And out back, we get MX-5 inspired taillights. Love the taillights. I got dual exhaust on the bottom, and I got a rear spoiler on the top. It really just fills that overall sportiness of the vehicle, and I absolutely love it. Opening up the power tailgate, which can be done via the remote control or a button on the inside. However, there's no kick to open feature that's found in other vehicles. Once open, we get 30.9 cubic feet of space and 59.6 if we fold the rear seats down. That's quite a bit smaller than the RAV4 or CR-V, but Mazda has a trick system with the folding rear seats. With a pull on the latch in the cargo area, we can fold the seat backs 40-20-40. Which means we can still accommodate 4 passengers and carry longer items through the center, something that you generally don't find in this competition. And with those latches in the back, it just makes it a lot more convenient. You don't have to walk around, fold the rear seats down, then go back to the back, and then load your items. It's definitely a convenience factor. Moving to those rear seats though, they're about the same size as the competition. There's plenty of headroom and legroom. There's even heated seats and charge ports, but they're not where you typically would find them, as they're hidden within the center armrest here. But if you were to still carry that third passenger here, the wires can easily be snaked around the armrest and still be able to charge your devices. As for the front seats, well, those are really nice as well, because they are very comfortable and they're very soft and plush, with just the right amount of bolstering to keep everyone happy. What is missing is the vertical adjustment for the lumbar support, but you can still adjust it fore and aft, so there's at least some lumbar support, but may not be the best fitting for all passengers. Because this is a signature trim, we have heated as well as cooled seats on the front, and these Napa seating surfaces, they are absolutely perfect. As far as the rest of the cabin is concerned, it's really nice in here. We have high quality materials throughout the doors and the dash. And there's plenty of tech as well. The cluster itself utilizes a digital display in the center to show vehicle speed, trip, and active safety features, but it lacks the configurability of the full digital displays that's found in the Volkswagen Tiguan per se. Above the cluster, we do have our heads-up display. It shows a vehicle speed, but it also shows you if there's any vehicles in the blind spot, so you don't have to check your mirrors for that little orange light. To the right, we have our traditional Mazda infotainment system. The interface, it is getting a little bit older now, but it's still plenty usable. Touchscreen is active when the vehicle is stationary, but once you start moving, the touchscreen deactivates and the control defaults to the rotary knob in the center. While personally I do love rotary knobs as it's a great way to interface with most vehicles' infotainment system, however, within Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, it's just a little bit more difficult than a touchscreen would be. But you do have Siri, as well as you have Google Assistant to do whatever you really need. The center console is also pretty nice. The only thing is, it is glossy black plastic, so it's going to get scratched up pretty quickly. Something I did notice while browsing Mazda's website, on both US as well as Canada's site, you can no longer get the diesel variant. That heavily anticipated diesel model, just nowhere to be found. So if you want a diesel, you're going to have to look elsewhere, or a used one. With the current engine option, Mazda pairs it with the 6-speed automatic. You can get it with all-wheel drive, or if you get the front-wheel drive, you still can, but just with the naturally aspirated motor. No turbo and front-wheel drive option. On the road, the Mazda CX-5 feels absolutely amazing. I mean, it has that zoom factor to it, doesn't it? It's very planted, it's very steady. And one thing you definitely notice is just the weight in the steering wheel itself. I mean, it's still a little artificial. It's no sports car by any means, but comparing to maybe like a Nissan or a Honda, well, those are definitely a lot lighter and just feels, well, less connected than you would in this. Let's talk about that engine just a little bit more. That 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, it's a peach. It's probably one of the best engines you can pair it. The only thing is, it's very different in its power delivery. It has a very big glob of torque right in that center, and it dies off at the top. So it means you're utilizing that power band very differently than some other vehicles. But for the average buyer, I think you're gonna really enjoy this because you put your foot down and it pulls. But as it pulls, you're gonna notice it's not gonna shift at redline. It shifts at 5,500 RPM because it doesn't need to go to redline. It has that much torque just in that middle section for you to have that entire punch. Mazda, of course, cares about your safety as well, so there's plenty of safety tech. Collision mitigation braking, there's radar guided cruise, as well as lane keep assist. But it is an assist. It's not a lane centering as some other vehicles are. So if you do take your hands off the wheel, you're kind of bouncing in between the lane. So it's definitely something that you can use in case of an emergency, but not something for you to use every day. Now, if this review is pretty positive, here are some negatives about it. The 360 camera, it's awful. It really is. There are pixels and then there's just blocks. You can't see anything clearly out of this 360 camera. But do you really need to read things off a camera? It's good enough for you to see that there's a car there or a pedestrian or whatever it may be. But don't expect like Mercedes level of clearness in this system. It definitely isn't. Another thing that I don't particularly like is just this armrest. This armrest is just, well, it's just too far back. Sitting here normally, my arm just cannot reach it. So there are some negatives, but there's a whole lot of positives. And that's something that you definitely will have in the CX-5. Overall, the CX-5 is one of the best if you're looking for a mid-compact-ish size of SUV with some driver involvement. Most of the vehicles out there are pretty bland, but this feels a little bit more German in its ways. The heavier steering wheel and grunt just gives the driver a better sense of confidence and involvement. With all the options checked off, the MSRP for this particular model is $41,900 Canadian or $37,750 US. It's definitely not cheap. In fact, it's a few $1,000s more than the comparable CR-V or the RAV4. But some people have been comparing the CX-5 to German rivals like the GLC and the X3. I mean, you kind of can with the materials and everything you have in here. It does feel higher end in that next level premium sector. But is it? That's kind of hard to say. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video you do, subscribe if you want to see more. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below. I'll be sure to read them. Anyways, take care. Have a great day.